Welcome to the In My Opinion Show with Ronald Berry Robinson and friends, seen on the internet 24 hours, 7 days a week. To view, go to YouTube, Facebook, Ustream, MySpace. Enter in the search engine in capital letters RBRIMO. This is the second part series. The topic is bullying. First, let's take a moment to remember all children that have been murdered, whether in schools or elsewhere. Violence must end. This is number 6 of that 10-part series. Help your child's school address bullying effectively. Whether your child have been bullied or not, you should know what their school is doing to address bullying. Research shows that zero-tolerance policies aren't effective. What works better are ongoing educational programs that help create a healthy social climate in the school. This means teaching kids at every grade level how to be inclusive leaders and how to be empathetic towards others, and teaching victims effective resistance techniques. If your school does not have an effective bullying strategy and policies in place, talk to the principal and advocate for change. Number 7, establish household rules about bullying. Your children need to learn and hear from you explicitly that it's not normal, okay, or tolerable for them to be bullied, or to stand by and just watch other kids be bullied. Make sure they know that if they are bullied physically, verbally, or socially at school by a sibling in your neighborhood or online, it's safe and important for them to tell you about it and that you will help. They also need to know just what bullying is. Many children do not know that they are bullying others, and that such behavior is harmful to others and not acceptable. You can help your children find positive ways to exert their personal power, status, and leadership at school. Work with your child, their teachers, and their principal to implement a kindness plan at school. Number 8, teach your child how to be a good witness or positive bystander. Research shows that kids who witness bullying feel powerless and seldom intervene. However, kids who take action can have a powerful and positive effect on the situation, although it's never a child's responsibility to put him or herself in danger. Kids can often effectively refuse bullying situations by yelling, "Stop, you're a bully," or "Hey, that's not cool." Kids can also help each other by providing support to the victim, not giving extra attention to the bully, and or reporting what they witnessed to an adult. Number 9, teach your child about cyberbullying. Children often do not realize what cyberbullying is. Cyberbullying includes sending mean, rude, vulgar, or threatening messages or images, posting sensitive, private information about another person, pretending to be someone else in order to make that person look bad, and intentionally excluding someone from an online group. These acts are as harmful as physical violence and must not be tolerated. We know from research that the more time a teen spends online, the more likely they are to be cyberbullied. So limit online time. There's a simple litmus test you can teach your children about online posting. If you wouldn't say it to someone's face, or you would not feel comfortable having your parents see it, don't post it or take it down. Number 10, spread the word that bullying should not be a normal part of childhood. Some adults hesitate to act when they observe or hear about bullying because they think of bullying as a typical phase of childhood that must be endured, or that it can help children toughen up. It is important for all adults to understand that bullying does not have to be a normal part of a childhood. All forms of bullying are harmful to the perpetrator, the victim, and to the witness, and the effects last well into adulthood and can include depression, anxiety, substance abuse, family violence, and criminal behavior. Efforts to effectively address bullying require the collaborative of school, home, and community. This is the end of the second part of bullying.
Jamie, you got to do this.
I was really surprised because my mom's response was, "Jamie, this is something you have to do." that you're not the only kid that's been harassed in schools, and that this will continue to happen, and the schools will continue to look the other way and not do anything. And she really encouraged me to move forward and file the case.
I think what really struck me about Jamie was he was someone who felt very strongly about right and wrong, and he felt like rules mattered. And in the civil rights business, you look for folks like that because sometimes it's folks like that who are the ones who are willing to fight back.
At first, the trial court dismissed Jamie's case without even hearing it. But Jamie, represented by Lambda Legal, appealed. And in an historic decision, the United States Court of Appeals ruled that Jamie's case should go forward.
No court up until then had ever agreed that there could be a lawsuit brought by a student who'd suffered anti-gay violence in a public school. The revolution was, this was the first court to do that. Never been done before. They said, you've got a lawsuit, you're gonna get your day in court.
The lawsuit against the school district, middle school principal Podlesny, high school assistant principal Blauert, and high school principal Davis was big news.
A young homosexual who was beaten and tormented by his classmates is suing his school district for failing to protect him.
I realized, I think for the first time, how big this case really was and how much it meant to so many people. I started getting a lot of letters of support from people from all over the country.
But some in Ashland were angry.
We started getting threats. We'd find things in the mailbox. Started getting threats on the telephone. They'd leave messages.
Who do you think you are suing the schools? That faggot son of yours deserved everything he got.
Finally, the trial began. David Springer from the renowned law firm Skadden Arps was Jamie's lead attorney.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case will show that it's about a gay boy. My client, Jamie Nabozny, who grew up in Ashland, Wisconsin. He went to the high school and the middle school there. But virtually every day in those schools, he was subjected to harassment and abuse.
One of the first witnesses was Jamie's mother.
So, Mrs. Nabozny, did a meeting ever take place?
Yes, it did.
Where?
At the middle school.
And can you tell us what happened at that meeting?
Mrs. Podlesny asked the boys if they had called Jamie names or had done what he said they did in the bathroom, and they denied it.
Do you remember if she said anything else at that meeting?
She said that if Jamie was going to act so openly gay, he had to expect that kind of stuff to happen.
One of the trial's most dramatic moments came early, when Roy Grandy, one of Jamie's principal attackers, testified. In jail on unrelated charges, he was escorted into the courtroom.
When Roy Grandy came into the courtroom, I was kind of surprised that he was there in his prison oranges. I really was. And everyone got really quiet.
Mr. Grandy, would it be fair to say that you and your friends picked on Jamie through the 7th and 8th grade?
Yes, sir.
And Roy was absolutely truthful about everything.
You remember tripping him?
Yes, sir.
Pushing him around?
Yes, sir.
Knocking books out of his hands?
Yes, sir.
Throwing things at him?
Yes, sir.
He got up on the witness stand and started to recite what had happened from his perspective.
Was in science class, and me and Jason were kind of picking on Jamie. And I think I do believe Jason blew in his ear, something to that effect.
You remember anything else that happened in that incident?
I think I put my hand on his rear end.
You grabbed it?
Yeah.
To me, the most significant part of the trial, and in some ways the most difficult, was when Roy Grandy got up to testify on the stand. and talk about all the things that he'd done to me. I guess having to remember a lot of that stuff, and then having my mom have to listen to him describe what he did to me over and over again. It was really hard.
Were you ever suspended from school for anything you did to Jamie?
No, sir.
Did Mr. Blowert or Mr. Davis ever criticize you for anything you ever did to Jamie?
No, sir.
Another key witness was Roy Grandy's mother, who recalled meeting with middle school principal Podlesny and Jamie's mother.
Now, Mrs. Grandy, do you recall the first time you ever met Jamie Nabozny?
Yes, I do. I was called into the office in regards to some words that were spoken in the middle school, and my son was laughing at them.
And was Mrs. Podlesny present?
Yes, she was.
It was a turning point for us. She was basically sitting there saying, "Dear jury, I'm on the other side here, but, you know, what Jamie and his parents are saying, looks like it's true to me, because I was there."
Late on the trial's first day, Jamie took the stand.
You know, we had a lot of witnesses get up on that stand, but it was when Jamie got up, in particular, that you could have heard a pin drop. There was just absolute silence. Even when he wasn't talking, you just didn't hear the slightest sound.
I was sitting and had my books in my lap, and a couple bullies came up to me, and one of them told me he wanted to fight me. I informed him that I wouldn't fight with him, at which point he said, "Well, if you don't fight, I'm gonna kick the crap out of you." I went back to what I was doing and I ignored him, and he kicked my books out of my hand, and as I bent over to pick them up, he repeatedly kicked me until the lights in the library came on.
And did you tell anybody about this, Jamie?
Not right away, no.
Why not?
He threatened me.
And what did he say?
He said, "If you tell anybody, I'll kill you."
It was powerful to be able to see Jamie get his chance to let the truth come out and to have others hear it and judge it for themselves in the sort of the clear light of a courtroom where things had to be full and they had to be fair. And to watch him realize he was having his moment.
When school administrators took the stand, they denied any knowledge of what had happened to Jamie.
Ma'am, the question is, as you sit here today, do you have any present recollection of ever speaking with Mr. or Mrs. Nabozny?
No, I do not.
Do you have any present recollection of ever speaking with Jamie Nabozny?
No, I do not.
On some level, it was difficult to hear her just deny everything. But on another level, so much had come out up till that point, and all the truth had already been told, and I think she just looked ridiculous denying it all.
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
We went into closing arguments uncertain. To tell you the truth, we were doing something that had never been done before. We were in a small town, very, very small town in the American Midwest. It was hard to say what was going to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, no child deserves to go through what Jamie Nabozny had to go through. Every child deserves equal protection under the law. That is what this case is about. Now, as you go back to deliberate, and you have that form of verdict before you, the question is, did these defendants intentionally discriminate? And I think that you will find from the evidence and from the law that the answer must be yes. Thank you.
Hello? They're back.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did any of the following defendants intentionally discriminate against the plaintiff on the basis of his gender or sexual orientation?
Jamie's mother was sitting next to me. She was holding my hand, and they had to read through, each person.
Mary Podlesny.
Yes.
William Davis.
Yes.
Each time, she squeezed harder and harder. I thought my knuckles were going to break.
Thomas Blowert.
Yes.
But we had the liability verdict. We'd won. We'd won.
I was ecstatic, and I wanted to scream and yell and grab Jamie. Inside, my heart was just beating so fast, and I was so happy, and I was so proud of him for doing what he did. Very proud. Still am.
As an attorney, a trial attorney, I found it so hard not to jump up. We knew with this verdict that we were going to be reaching schools across the country.
One of the best feelings I'd ever had, that this court had said not only was it wrong, but that these three people who were supposed to do their jobs and protect me didn't, and that they were responsible for that, was the best feeling in the world.
The school district itself was not found liable, but it quickly negotiated a monetary settlement. Jamie was awarded $900,000.
It was something that sent a message to, school districts all over the country that this isn't okay. What happened here isn't okay. And not only is it not okay for humans to treat each other this way, but it's going to cost you a lot of money. And you need to do something about it.
There were thousands, millions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender kids in public schools all over the country going through a similar hell. And they had a reason to have some more courage now. We had one young man in Texas who said he got the article the next morning. There was a picture of Jamie and a story about how this school district was going to owe almost $1 million. He put it up inside his locker, taped it up. And he said it gave him the strength to get through the day. There was that message that instantly went out to all these young folks of hope.
Because of his courage, Jamie was invited to Washington, D.C. to speak at a congressional subcommittee hearing on parents, schools, and values.
Kudos to the brave young man who did the right thing and stood up for himself. Because in one young, brave man standing up, he maybe inadvertently stood up for millions of others. The other thing that happened from this is that our school district is a better place. Jamie did have a lot to do with it. If somebody holds a mirror up and forces you to take a good, hard look at yourself, you're going to come away changed.
So a lot of people ask me, why did I do this? Why did I fight? And I'll tell you why. I fought back for all the kids who can't fight back. I get a lot of people contacting me on Facebook, kids that are being harassed, asking for help or advice. And I think the big lesson to be learned from all of this is that you have to fight back when something isn't right. It doesn't matter if you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or if you're harassed for any reason, you have a right to be protected in school and you have a right to have a safe education. I was a poor gay kid from northern Wisconsin, and I was able to stand up and say, harassment is wrong, beating me up and urinating on me is wrong, and I won. And if I can do that, anyone can do that. Thank you.
There's so much more that needs to be done.